Yo, what's poppin'? It's Tomathan, and I have my rookie tier list from this whole season, taking everything into account. Gonna rate every single rookie here. If you like this content, make sure you check out my other content. I'm gonna have the role tier list coming out soon. Gonna have MVP soon, Coach of the Year, lots of Valve content on this channel, so check that out if you're interested. But anyway, this is gonna be the whole season so far, and I'll compare it with my midseason madness one after. And yeah, if, like the top, like whoever is right here, right under the S, that's my top player, and it goes down from there. So with that in mind, starting off with the players that we need more info on, we have a Prida, Pineapple, Hacker, and a whole one. I believe Hacker and Prida basically have not played at all, and Pineapple played like 2 maps against Valiant in midseason madness, and whole one I think he had a few maps in as well, but not enough from any of them to really solidly rate them anywhere. I would say maybe Ho one you could say he did, but he probably ended up being in the C or D tier. I don't know. I believe he played a little bit. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure he did. Now getting into the actual tier list, we have at the bottom False. So False didn't even play the Junker Queen for his team, and he just never really grew into the role he was signed to fulfill on the Titans. Maybe that changes with the next meta that comes in, because Junker Queen should hopefully be dead. Hopefully they nerfed her enough for that. And we'll see who takes her place, because Junker Queen, I don't know, this is a whole different discussion, but she didn't really, like, fit. Like, her playstyle never counted anything, it's just she as a character was so strong. So, like, I don't know what the true counter is to her, right? You could say, oh, you just poke her out, or you rush her down faster, or I don't know, whatever it is. That's Owl's job to figure out, not mine right now. But, gonna have to be False, right? Like, how can you argue that he hasn't been the worst rookie? He never really had any results. His team plays much better without him. They have Mirror on the Doom, or they have Mirror on the Junker Queen. He never really has looked good this whole season, and it sucks to say because like I like False, one of the only Canadians in this league, shout out, but there needs to be some reason to not make him down this low. Coming in just above him is going to be Skyreaper. He also did not play this stage in favor for Aztac on the Brigida. Can't say that's a bad move. Aztac played pretty well. Skyreaper's just been kind of nothing as well. Like he hasn't really shined at all. More of like a detriment, I would say, most of the time. Because like whenever he was on the Ana way back then, he wasn't really getting the nades he needed to either. Their double flex support looked a little good in the midseason madness, so shout out to Vancouver for that. But I just don't rate Skyreaper that much. He just hasn't shown it to me. But coming in just above him, gonna be Itzel actually. So Itzel, I don't even think he's won a map. And is he gone? Wait, is he gone? Yeah, double check. He's not gone. Just Lori was gone. Because I mean, like, hopefully we never see him play again. Because they have Mag now. They have Punk. Itzel should not get a speck of playtime at all, right? He never really should have before Mag was there either. Like, I don't think he has a place on this team. Maybe he comes in and plays the ball, but do you really think Mag can't do that better? I don't know. Itzel has not shown a single reason to be played over anyone else on his team. Just no reason. And again, he was also benched. And then we have Gurio, who I think clearly showed that he should not have been playing in the midseason madness. Edison stepped up and just rolled whatever he was doing, and the bar was very low for Edison. He just had to, because he was competing against Gurio, and somehow, some way, I don't know if Gurio was doing well in scrims, but on the stage, he just did not perform. He was probably the worst hit scan in the league when it came down to it on stage, or at least one of them, or at least not up to code for Dallas, right? So I think I can't put him above D tier. There's just no way. He never really showed. He was like, oh, sometimes he would get a few picks. Sometimes he's like, oh, maybe Gurio's finally getting into it, but like not actually. He never really did. Above Gurio, we have some Paris gamers. So we have Dove, who I think has been wildly outclassed this entire stage, and it shows. Then you have Wub, who's been benched by Malthel, who was going directly above him, and then RotY, who, you know what, maybe I could give him some more credit because he has a rough team, but I don't know. None of these Paris players have impressed me almost at all. Like, you can say, oh, Dove did some things. No, Dove's not doing anything, man. Let's be reasonable for a second. He's not. He's just not. He's not matching up with the other hit scans he's going up against, even at the bottom of NA. It's just not there. Wub, I think he's going like through something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I forget if he's like sick or something sometimes. But either way, he's got benched by Malthel, and Malthel also hasn't looked good. So Now I think Cry you can make an argument for C, but it's just that like I haven't seen it. I haven't seen him do too much, and like a Junker Queen meta, he did like all right probably, but like still he wasn't popping off. He wasn't like winning any fights for his team. Wasn't winning any maps certainly. So I just don't. I don't see it. You could probably he probably can go to C tier eventually. Maybe next stage I'll put him there, but from what I've seen this one, not really. Anyway, going in to C tier, we actually have Kellen moving up for the first time in my tier lists out of D tier, and I was like, you know what? Sure, I can give Kellen D or C rather because he was like all right on the Junker Queen. Maybe he should be with Cry, sure, but I think it's reasonable to finally let him out of the basement. You know, New York looked a little decent at the very beginning, and then they never got any better, and they just kept putting all resources into Yaki, and it didn't work. But you know, I'm not going to fault Kellen for the poor coaching decisions made on that roster. So I think bottom of C is good. So shout out, good job, Kellen. You got out of the bottom, out of the basement. So good for him. Then we have Daisy, who really hasn't played that much. He played like one map on Junker Queen at the very start and was really bad. Not a great look at all, but I don't know. He hasn't really been played too much, so it's hard to put him any higher. It's hard to put him any lower. I can't say he's been a detriment when he's been in. Not really. Um, I don't know. There's not much to say about Daisy. You could even argue that you need to see him play more, but I'm just going to put him in C tier for now. Because why not? So now we have King coming up. So the thing about King is he's definitely an underwhelming Genji, especially for like the caliber that Vancouver was trying to compete at in the tournament. Probably the worst Genji there. I don't know. You could say maybe Backbone's worse. You could argue, but I think King's been worse. He had that tragic misplay at the very start of that stage that cost Vancouver a win against Toronto, or at least a better chance of a win. And he never really were like, oh, he'll shake off the nerves and he'll be better, but he never really did. He never actually got much better. Um, and that was really bad for Vancouver because I think Genji was so important in that meta. I think he's been better than like Malthel and Wub, but I don't know if much better, right? I don't think you can even call it average better. King, maybe he'll grow more into that role. Maybe he will get better. And that was just the first stage, right? So who knows? But for right now, I don't. I don't see how you can put him any higher. I don't think you can call him an average rookie. I think below average is more than reasonable. All right, so above King we have Doge. So Doge has only played like the first two or even one, right? And then before getting replaced by Dante in the Junker Queen meta. But like I think that's reasonable enough. Like he didn't look awful. He wasn't like significantly worse than Dante. I think it definitely was a little bit worse, like quite considerably worse, right? But I'm not going to call him below C tier for that. I feel like he will be. I think he could be useful moving forward. Now that they don't have Piggy, they might just go back to their Doomfist ways. Maybe they'll bring Doge out for whatever else. Maybe the Reinhardt comes through, the ball, who knows? But I don't know. I don't think his Junker Queen was like super awful. It's just that Dante had a better one, right? He wasn't like doing turbo bad. He did take the Gladiators to what 4 maps, and before Dante came in for the last. I don't think Doge is down that bad. But next is going to be Lucamino, where now there's one Paris Eternal remaining on the board. I think the Paris backline has been kind of good. It's very hard to rate them because of how tragic the team is, and the backline is going to suffer the most from that. Like a DPS can always pack off or pop off with a bad team, but a support, it's quite hard to actually see the support and how good they are whenever their team is so tragically awful. Lucamino, I think there's stuff there. I don't think he's like particularly been like fantastic, but with what he's been working with, I think it's been fine. And above him is going to be Becky. So Becky has his moments, right? He'll pop off sometimes, and he'll be able to carry rounds, he'll be able to carry some maps maybe. But then there are other times where he just ints, and there's no other way to describe it but Becky. He will just go in, toss his life, and he's gone. And that happens more often than it doesn't to me. And even then, the highs for Becky, like the trade-off isn't great. Like he's losing more than he's gaining with this trade-off of this carry versus trade, because this carry is not like spectacular. He has like some decent mechanics, but he's not like rolling through teams on the Genji or on the Echo. He preferred the Echo in the Genji meta, and it didn't particularly look good, right? It was like an okay option, I guess, but not actually a real solid solution. Um, and it just has to be C tier. So Rack Attack is up next. I do think Rack is better than Luke, but I can't. How do you put Rack Attack in B tier with what he's done though? Like I don't know if you can justify putting him in B just because it seems so bad. How are you really judging that? So now all the Paris Eternal are off the board. The whole team's worth. And I think Rack has a lot of potential. I could see Rack going up to A tier maybe next season if he's still in the league. But just right now, there's just no way. There's just no way. Well, I don't know. I think he's been very solid on whatever he's playing all the time. But yeah, so after Rack Attack, we have Fixa, actually. So Fixa, I think, has been definitely a weakness of the Fusion. Yeah, he has some good Lucio mechanics, but like you need more than that. His beats have somehow not actually gotten better through 3 stages of gameplay. His beats are still tragically bad. And that's not negotiable. You cannot have that in any way. It's just not possible. Now maybe he is better than Aim God. Maybe he is the better half of the backline, but it's not by enough. Like Fixa needs to be better still. I cannot stress enough that you cannot fumble over half of your beats on the Lucio. You just can't do that. It's not negotiable. And he has unfortunately been doing that a bit too much. And now coming up next is Irony, who has actually dropped, definitely. I had Irony near the top of B, but that was some really tragic Brig gameplay. And yeah, no, he's not signed to play Brig. I understand that. But look at what he did on the Brig, and he never really improved, and he was a core weakness for the Spark, who just could not get it going. If Irony was even average at the Brigida, they don't go 1-5, right? They went 1-5, if I remember. So like it was really bad Brig gameplay. I'm not gonna put him D tier because he was probably. I think there's an argument to be made he was the worst Brig last stage. There is definitely an argument there. But he was still very solid in the first 2 stages, so I'm gonna keep him there in C tier because he hasn't been like tragically awful the whole time. And you know this is what he came to play. And like if Spark had someone else, which I'm surprised they didn't get someone else to play the Brig that stage or anything like that. And he was on the bench, he wouldn't have been tanked because like you can't tank someone because they're on the bench the whole time. You know what I mean? But you can if they have a tragically awful Brigida that they're playing. And finally, the top of C tier is going to be Admiral. So Admiral has been solid. I keep saying like the London backline's solid, but it's not making plays. But Admiral to me has been caught out a bit. There were a lot of times when you're watching London and he just ends up dying to the enemy hit scan. He's just a little bit out of position for no real reason. It's not like he's going aggressive with it. It's not like he's trying to make a play. He's just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. It's not like, you see Violet a lot of times. Violet would go in and he's in a very precarious situation. But he's there for a reason. He's getting good damage. He's helping build his beat, which he's very good at. He's getting good damage. He's booping the team out of position, things like that. Admiral, I didn't feel that from him. And even though that I didn't feel anything like that, he was still getting put in those precarious situations at times. And not even that, just like not even like super obvious. Just like he would peek the hit scan for 2 seconds too long, and he'd die. And I think he was. I don't know. I don't want to say he was holding London back because it feels like the biggest thing that was holding London back was their mental, right? Getting reverse swept by Florida twice will do that to your mental, but I can't. I just cannot put Admiral into mid tier right now. But to start off the bottom of the mids, it's gonna be Rupel. So I was pretty down on Rupel. I'll be honest. But he came in, he played the Brigida full time, he was on the double flex support when he needed to, which Florida enjoyed, and honestly, props to them for actually doing something that seemed to work and be creative in this meta. And he was solid. Like, he wasn't, like, winning the team his fights, he wasn't, like, putting the team on his back, but he wasn't being a detriment to the team in any way, and he was just being very solid. And that's I think that's what they signed him to do, and that's what he's been doing, so how could you really put him any lower? It's not like he has any glaring weaknesses with his gameplay. It didn't feel like he did, at least. He was just very much there and doing his job. So Rupel's gonna stay down there. You know, you could argue maybe put him up mid a bit, but we'll see. Anyway, now we have Lep. So Lep, kind of similar in a way that like he was just there doing his job. He's been solid. He wasn't like lighting the world on fire. He wasn't like going super crazy aggro. He wasn't get like being super peel oriented. He was just like, he's on the Lucio. He's doing his thing. And that was it. That was that. And that's it. That's all I have to say, pretty much. Like he's been solid. Probably one of the better like late stage pickups. Sure, shout out Lep for being solid. Above Lep is gonna be Innovation. So Innovation's kind of tricky because he's only in for like the May or like the weird stuff, and he only comes in every now and then. But I feel like every time he comes in, he does some work. He does some good work. He's on the Tracer sometimes. He's on the May sometimes. Who knows what he's doing, right? He's there. Uh, I don't feel like you can put him higher because he's not playing that much. But when he does come in, he's not really hurting his team at all. He's very much a specialist, and he does that real well. So he's going to be in B tier, uh, pretty much. Above Innovation is going to be Vigilante. Actually, I went to look for the Washington Vigilante, but he's not there anymore. So he comes in for Ultraviolet and plays a Brigida, and he looks pretty good for the most part. Like he looks better. Um, he wasn't going crazy on them, and it's not like he was going crazy on the Justice either. Now that could be a part because they were playing Krillin on Lucio for some reason, and things like that. And Washington wasn't very good when he was on it, but he looked all right on Atlanta, and I'm looking forward to see how him and Ultraviolet are going to balance each other out because UV has had an incredible season so far. Minus that Brigida play wasn't the best, but that's why Vigilante came in and saved him from being dropped any lower than I already did drop him. Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Vigilante's up to. But for now, there's just a little bit of flex support, a little bit of break gameplay, and it's like, I don't know, he's been alright, kind of thing. Anyway, so above Vigilante is going to be Surma Jed. So Surma Jed has actually been interesting because he had a really good kickoff clash, right? Kind of a whatever mid-season madness. And then he picks the Lucio for this stage, for the Summer Showdown stage. And honestly, he doesn't do a terrible job. He played his trademark aggressive style, right? And it kind of got him caught out a little bit. And he did play the double flex support, the Zenyatta, and things like that as well. But he did a pretty all right job. I don't think he was like a spectacular Lucio by any means, but he wasn't like horrible. There were no unredeeming qualities. Like there was merit to that aggression that he was showing. Sometimes it would make him a little worse than it would have been. Sometimes it gets a little over ambitious and things like that. But that's just Surma Jed. And overall, I think it's a success for Lucio. It's not like it was really bad, right? He was able to do enough that I think it was worth what he was doing, but it wasn't exceptional, and he wasn't exceptional in the mid-season madness either. So I struggled to put him in the A tier. But, he was like he's not like solid, but he is his risks and reward is more aligned. It's more even than some other players that have that similar play style, and they don't really catch that same level or that same vibe that Majed does. So that's very good for him. And you know what? Not bad for someone who just picked up Lucio, basically. Anyway, next we have Landon. So Landon is a bit interesting because I think his Brig was like solid, and I think before that his Zenyatta was quite good when he played it. I was very impressed with the Zenyatta. Actually, his Baptiste was like good enough. Again, not lighting the world on fire, but he's been solid. He's been able to do what he was meant to do on London. So he's just gonna stay B tier this whole time. I can't really see him going to A tier. I can't really see him going to C tier either. That's just kind of the player he is. There's a lot of players like that in the B tier, right? We see Lep, we see Rupel that are just like, they're doing all right, but they're not going beyond. They're not going beyond, and supports going beyond is what makes good teams great, right? So that there's like an issue there. It's not like I'm not like saying, oh, he can't improve. I'm saying he's doing his job, but if London want to actually get over like a bottom showing in a tournament, they're gonna have to. Landon's gonna have to improve, I think, and so is Admiral, like genuinely, because they have good tools, but the tools needs to be sharp, kind of thing. And next up we have Finale. He didn't play at all last stage. He had a pretty good Tracer and kickoff clash. Not a whole lot to say there. Not much new. Tracer's very good. But everything else is a bit lacking. The Genji was lacking when he did play it in the kickoff clash. Aldo took his spot, which I think Aldo definitely outperformed him. His Echo was not good at all, although I'm sure outperforms him there too. He's good on Tracer, but he's not even that great at Tracer, so that's why he's got to be B tier still. Next we have Victoria, actually. So Victoria kind of lost his job towards the end there. Well, yeah, he probably lost his job, I would say, to Seeker. Yeah, Seeker came in and had an unreal performance. Victoria has, to me, people say he's inconsistent. I say he's been pretty consistent at what he's been doing because it's like he's losing the matchups you're expecting him to lose. Yeah, he can win some fights every now and then, but he's never really been able to just take a map or anything like that. So I think he's been pretty consistent in that way. I guess you could say consistently inconsistent if you want to, but like it's not like he goes on streaks. It's not like sometimes he has really high highs or really low lows. He's just been kind of there, and that's not bad. But he can easily get outperformed or someone who just has a bit higher highs, and even if their lows are lower, it'll probably average out to be better than him, which is what I think Secret's going to turn out to be. We've only seen him from one map, so it's hard to say. But yeah, I don't know. Victoria, I don't think he's been a detriment. I don't think he's been poor. I just think he's been all right. But all right is not what you need with your boss. You need it better than all right. So unlucky for him. Next is EasyHan. So I've been kind of hard on EasyHan. I'm starting to come around because he's able to get a win against Leave, which was huge. He was outperforming them. He was outperforming Carpe. He was going toe to toe with some pretty big players in APAC. He was still getting heavily outclassed by like your Lips, by Vince, by those kind of players. But he's been okay. I'm not sure how much more upside there is for EasyHan, but I think it's okay to give him a bit more slack because probably it's kind of a whatever roster. I've seen better. But he kind of came into his own a little bit. He kind of solidified himself as, what, maybe I'm going to stop saying they should play Dia on the Sojourn. He's been, I think it's safe to say that he probably has been good enough, or as good as Dia probably would expect to be on Sojourn. Interesting to see what happens next stage if there's a meta where Dia's back in on the hit scan, because I do think Dia's a better player overall than EasyHan. But we'll see what goes on there. Next up is going to be Kilo. So I am a Kilo doubter. I understand people are like, oh, he's been so hyped from O2 Blast. He's had some good times. I don't see it here. I think he's been wildly inconsistent. I think his highs haven't even been that high compared to some other players that are still on this board. Some other hit scans like Hydron or even Merit for sure. I'm going for the other side. You see MN3 still there. Like, he hasn't had that MN3 level performance. He's not really carried a map, right? It's always been Proper the one like carrying. Kilo has not taken a map and just won. It just hasn't been there, and I don't think it. I maybe it could be there, but I have doubts. I'm starting to have some real doubts here that he has that capability in him, and he's been good enough for Shock to be one of the top teams in this league. But we saw in the tournament when it comes down to it, Kilo just didn't perform. He had one final blow on Coliseum against Dallas. Like, they needed more from Kilo, and he was unable to provide it. I don't think he's really had that showing, that level he needs to show for Shock to be a bona fide top team, dominate like Dallas did, dominate like Shanghai did. Even the Gladiators, they all have key pieces. They all improved their hit scan, right? Dallas with Gurio, no good. They bring in Edison, who was just even a little better than most, right? Just not there. Kilo needed to diff Edison. He never diffed Edison. Not a single time. He needed to be better. So maybe that's a little harsh on him, but the expectations he had versus what he's done has maybe been one of the worst in this league for a rookie. I think I'll touch more on that maybe in a different video or at the end of this one. But Kilo's definitely a candidate for the expectations that not met reality with him going into his rookie season. Now, following up is Backbone. So Backbone's hard because his May was pretty exceptional. Best May by far. Not like there were too many competitions in that regard in the first two stages, but this third stage, the May doesn't work anymore. It looked pretty bad. London still tried to run it, never really got the job done. And then his Genji, it was usable, but it was never good. His blades were pretty tragic because he would always just pull the blade, hope that beat comes out, and then he would just back up and do nothing for 6 seconds. And that was what Backbone did, and that's how he found success. Or at least that's how he thought he was finding the most success. Not sure if that was he actually found the success, but that's what he thought he was getting. Or that's what London thought. And it his Genji gameplay honestly would put him in C tier for sure. But just that Mei gameplay and how good he is at that Mei, at those right clicks, at everything else about it, it's gonna leave him B tier. Um, and that's what it comes down to. Off of the Mei, I don't think we've really seen it enough. Hopefully, he's able to go back onto it for London's sake, for his sake, or something like that. But it's hard to justify an A tier placing after that Genji performance. And like he's one of the players you can argue that maybe King was better than him on the Genji. It's one of those players that you can maybe say that he was the worst Genji in the tournament of the Summer Showdown. And there's some truth to that. He definitely was bottom three. Anyway, above backbone, it's gonna be Sam still. Like I know Sam could be A tier, but he just didn't play at all, and I had him B tier last time. So it's like, can I really justify putting him A tier after he didn't play at all? It's not like he. No, I think Sam's been good. I think Sam's been definitely better than Kilo, especially after that last stage. But I want a little bit more from him. I think he has that next level, and he just needs to kick it into overdrive. I'm waiting patiently. I'm still a Sam believer. I'm believing in Sam. Slowly, I'm believing more in Sam because I think he is a good player and he just gets overshone by Proper a bit. But he's got to stay B tier until next stage and he shows that he is that guy. He needs that to step and be that guy. He has the drip, he has the look, he has the vibe. Need a little bit more gameplay, I think. But that's not a bad spot. That's top of B. Like that's not a bad position to be in. There's a clear difference between me putting Sam here and I don't know, Finale. Like I think Sam's definitely better than Finale, and he is 5 spots above him because of it. And next up is gonna be Speedily. So Speedily, we only saw 3 matches of, I believe. So this is kind of like an asterisk almost. Like an asterisk there because it's like, is that really enough? And I think Speedily needs to be A tier. I think he will be A tier. But just with what we saw in those 3 games, he never really lit the world on fire. He wasn't what he was promised to be. He was promised to be the next guy. He was promised to maybe have a shot at Rookie of the Year even though he comes in halfway through the season. And he never did. It just wasn't there. Not yet, at least. Let him cook a little bit. He tried the Echo, it doesn't work out. His Genji was good, but it wasn't like next level. It wasn't like he was going crazy on it. He had some good looks. He was doing solid. He never really looked poor, except on the Echo a little bit. But A tier next stage. I'm very confident Speedily can get there. There's not a slight on him at all. I believe he will be there. He could even go to S tier next stage. You know, this is only 3 games. I'm sure he'll work into it. I'm sure he'll be fine. But I don't feel confident putting him to A tier right now. I just don't think we've seen enough from him. Now, Super Rich is going to be who is ending off the B tier. So Super Rich, I don't think he's at fault for Spark's poor performance. I think that he's still being a little bit slept on for his midseason madness performance on the Brig, especially. I thought it was very good. Just unfortunate that, Irony was the one on the Brig and not Super Rich, because I think Super Rich would have. I think if Irony could get on the Lucio, I think it would have been maybe better to switch them around. Who knows what's going on in the mind of Changun and the Hangzhou Spark? But I'm not going to fault Super Rich. He's very solid. He's been there. He's like the solid level that I give to Lep and Rupal even. But I think he's had flashes of like, oh, he can just pull his rally out and he can win right back in the old days, back in the old midseason madness days before Jotes wasn't ruining our mentals. I don't know, not a great chunk for the Spark, but like, and thus the Lucio, but Lucio is probably the most impacted by that, like just looks wise. I don't know if Super Rich really played poorly, just his team around him did, and made him look quite bad. But I am going to put Super Rich at the top of B until I can't anymore, basically. But next up is going to be the bottom of A tier. It's going to start with Seeker. So I know that I was saying, oh, I can't put Speedily A tier because we haven't seen enough. From these 5 maps of Seeker, where he was diffing Aspire through and through. It was about even the first 2, and then he really kicks in the overdrive, and he diffs one of the best Sojourns in NA. I don't know if he's going to keep up that performance. I don't know what's going to happen. But based on that performance, I'm going to put him A tier. Sure. I feel like no, you know what? This could be wildly wrong. Next stage, he could come up, and he could go all the way down here. Who knows where he's going? He could go right under false next stage. Who knows where that is? But from that one match, I'm on the Seeker train all the way. This is far better than I thought he would do. I thought he was going to be like, but like, damn, that was a good performance. I'm very excited to see more from him. But yeah, we need to see more from him before this place, and that's why the asterisk is there. It's like kind of like I don't know if you can confidently put him there. But that's where I'm going to pen him for now. Above Seeker is going to be Opener, who I thought had a pretty damn good time. I think I underrated him in my previous list, as we'll see whenever I do end up bringing it up. Uh, and he was pretty good on Washington, right? He was doing his job well. He was feeling good. Beats were there. I didn't think there was a problem with Opener. The problem with Washington was not on him. Wasn't on any individual skill. Even it was just as a play style. This team wasn't functioning. They only had one function. Not an Opener at all. And he's been a very solid Lucio. I'd say better than solid Lucio, right? Have you really? Can you think of a single moment where you've been like, Opener, what are you doing? Opener, that was a bad beat. Opener, why are you there? I can't. I can't really. I don't remember anything like that because he has been there. He's been solid. He's had some good moments where he's hit some good aggression. I think all the pieces are there for Opener. If he was on a better team, people would be saying Opener, Rookie of the Year, Opener, let's go, kind of thing. But he's on Washington, so we're like Opener, yeah, he's pretty good, I guess. Or some people are like, oh, it's pretty bad, whatever. You know what? Washington. It's hard to rate their Lucio when there's so much going on with that roster. Anyway, coming up above him is going to be Bellisria. He doesn't play the Junker Queen. Not going to fault him for that. He was still a very good ball player in the first two, and a good monkey too. That's all you need. He wasn't there to play Junker Queen. That's not going to hurt him. And that's it. That's it. Really. He's when I think we can safely say that he definitely looks better than Fury does. Like you saw in the gameplay this season. And that when Bellisria is in over Fury, or when Bellisria fits the meta better than Fury, Philly are a better team because he was helping MN3 and Zest much more than Fury was. And now you could say that's meta, you could say whatever you want, but Bellisria, when he's on and when his DPS are on, he's enabling them well and he's making plays himself. Philly's a very scary team, and Philly's a scary team even without a very good tank behind them, right? Just because of how MN3 and Zest work. So I think Bellisria kind of deserves at least A. I don't know if I personally don't think you can put Bellisria into B tier. I don't think that's allowed. I think you're off the goop if you put Bellisria below A. Now he's a low A, but that's just because yeah, he's just kind of there. He's not playing all the time, things like that. Now coming in above him is going to be Venom, another player that doesn't play at all. Not going to fault him for that. His Tracer's still been insane. He's still been able to carry maps just raw. Not last stage, but previous stages. He's going to stay A tier. Not going to put him S tier because you know what? The flexibility is not there. You're stuck on Tracer. This Tracer isn't world beating. It just he's able to carry a few maps. He's not going to carry a whole series. He's not going to hard diff someone like Proper on it or anything like that. But he's very good. He knows what he's about. He knows what he's about. Going up next is going to be someone. So I've been a little torn on someone because it's like sometimes he's been a little too all over the place. We call him a flex god. Is he really a flex god, or is he just playing different characters kind of thing? We know his Winston's really good, but outside of that, we can play some Zarya, I guess. But was Zarya that good? But Sigma that good? Who knows? And the Junker Queen, it was good enough. It was solid. I think the big thing is his energy definitely helps his team. You can see Florida's a team that's able to come back in reverse sweep in a tournament and then make a deep run. I think someone's energy and what he brings to his team and intangibles is actually a big factor of that. So I am going to keep him A tier for that reason. And his aggression, when he is able to harness it and really control it well, he is quite scary. There are times when he gets a bit ahead of himself, and it really hurts his team. But I like what he has. I like his spunk. He got some good spunk on him. I like someone in A tier for sure. Next up is going to be Hydron. Hydron, he is very good. I think that's like understated. Not even an understatement, but Hydron is very good at his game. He's a key piece of Florida and how good they are. And that's a big thing, right? He's able to consistently find good picks. He's always playing at a high level. I don't know if he really has an off game. You know what you're getting when you're getting Hydron? His peaks and his lows are like he's very consistent, I think. I don't think he's too wishy-washy with his gameplay, and that's huge when it comes to being as good as a hitscan as he is. Now, is he going to diff MN3, for example, if on when MN3 is on? Probably not. But he's going to be there, and he's going to give his team a damn good chance of winning. And, is he going to be playing over XC next stage? Maybe not, but X is a damn good player too, so hard to say. So Hydron, I got him an A tier for sure. Next up's going to be OG. OG on the Lucio, I know he's been solid. I don't know. It's not much change from this stage. Sure, maybe Atlanta had a bit of a rougher go at it. especially at the beginning of the Summer Showdown. But I don't think that's because it's off the back of OG's Lucio gameplay. I don't think it got much worse. There's some disconnect at times with the new with Vigilante, and even with Ultraviolet on the Brig, it wasn't fully there all the time. But again, I'm choosing to put that more on Vigilante and Ultraviolet's Brig than OG. And OG gonna stay A tier for just very good gameplay. It's like Lep is solid gameplay, but like OG is like the next level up where it's like solid, great gameplay. Above him is going to be Stalker, actually. So Stalker comes out of nowhere on the Genji, really. Like, he can play Genji if you follow the Korean scene a little bit. But I didn't expect, to be like one of the best Genjis in APAC. He was right there, not right there with Who Are You. He was a step down, a few steps below, maybe a flight below Who Are You, because Who Are You's that guy. But he came out and he showed that he is that good. Like, Stalker is that good. And just his ability to follow up on what Fitz damage was doing, and just in general the whole team. Stalker was always right there. Fitz goes, "Oh, I just shot this guy in the body or in the head or whatever. And he's not dead." Stalker's boom, he's there. He's ready. He's not wasting any time on that. And he was one of the best Genjis in the league. Sure, maybe he wasn't that great whenever he was splitting time with Fitz, but when he was in full time, god damn, that was some good ass Genji gameplay. And Stalker, to me, at least A tier. Maybe if he was there the whole time, you go ask. Now, just remember too, Stalker was so good they put Profit. I almost said Proper. There's too many pros. Profit onto the Brigida, and you can say, oh, that's because they traded creative and Iris wasn't there or whatever. That he was so good that he allowed that to happen. Like, they were not missing Proper on Genji or Profit. Too close, man. Stalker was so good and cannot fault him at all for having a poor midseason madness whenever that was a phenomenal stage. No, you don't win it, but you were against where you didn't have a chance. And next up is going to be Alfie. Alfie took a step back. Definitely took a step back. And yeah, you can say, well, he missed the first week and he probably missed like 2 weeks of scrims or whatever. He was playing Genji, man. He's been playing that the whole time. I don't think he needed, like, the scrim time was going to help him that much with the Genji. And the only reason he's above Stalker had a much better Genji than him in the Summer Showdown. But the only reason he's above Stalker is because he had such a good kickoff clash in the midseason madness. I had him in S tier before this, I'm pretty sure. And this stage, it kind of is a big blow. He needed to be there. He needed to be that rock for this team. Him and Shy had to be that dynamic duo that dragged Spark back into success, and it didn't happen, and that is tragic for the Spark moving forward. It's going to make them in a much worse spot when it comes to facing off against Philly for that top 3 spot that they need if they don't want to go to a play-in. I'm very disappointed in Alfie. Maybe he has a bounce back stage, but if he continues on this trend, it is a bad look. It's a very bad look. I'm not looking forward to it. So next up is going to be Potifon. It's unfortunate that his season's done, but he's going to keep him right there. It's going to be top of A the entire time I do these lists because damn, he had a damn good kickoff flash in midseason madness in the end. And he was very good, very solid, very flexible at everything he's doing. There was always good work being done, whether it be on the Tracer. He was on Tracer for a bit. He was on some Genji. He had some Sojourn, mostly Sojourn. He's going to stay A tier. I don't care that he's not playing. I don't care that he's injured. Potifon is the GOAT. He's staying right there. And actually, Reiner is going to end off A tier. Reiner is dropping out of S tier. I had him number 2. Why did I put him all the way down here? Yes, he was good in the kickoff clash in the midseason madness, but the inability to play Junker Queen really hurts his joke discussion, and it hurts his Rookie of the Year discussion too. He needed to be there for his team. He wasn't. It's a damn shame they took so long to put Space in, because Space looked much better than Reiner. The Junker Queen gameplay was not there. Now, he can bounce back and go right back into S tier, but I think his Rookie of the Year is basically squat for sure. Because not to mention the other great rookies I have. There's still a whole bunch of names on this board. There's still 10 other players on this board that I haven't listed yet. You know your top 10. You see my top 10 right now. But Reiner has fallen out of it for me. Now, yeah, he can't play one character. Is that fair to drop him like 10 spots? You can say no, but that was a damn important character, and there's no real excuse for him not to be able to pick it up as well as some of these other players did. And it probably cost the Gladiators. I'm not going to blame it all on Reiner. No, of course not. I'm not going to say it cost the Gladiators their another title or another tournament, but certainly didn't help them, right? Um, anyway, to go into my top 10, to get into S tier, starting off with Ultraviolet, who, yeah, he didn't play that well this stage. And you can say, oh, well, if Ultraviolet, why does Reiner get a pass? Whoa, hello, I need that back. Why does Reiner get a pass? Or why does Ultraviolet get a pass from Reiner Decibel? He didn't actually play the Brigida when he only played like 2 weeks. And yeah, like, it did hurt Atlanta a lot. They had more problems than that as well. But his other gameplay has been so good. He's been elite at anything else he's doing, any other flex support. He'll be right back in the lineup. It'll be very fun to see if he plays with Vigilante. If Vigilante overtakes him, who knows what actually happens there. I suspect Ultraviolet will be back to being the number 1. And I think he has been like one of the core reasons that Atlanta's so good. And you see a stage where he's not as good and they suddenly crumble. I don't think that's a coincidence. It's not like Hawk was a bad Junker Queen. I think Hawk was solid. It's not like OG did poorly. It's not like Kai was off his game and they got Speedily. They upgraded the other position. What was missing? Ultraviolet wasn't able to do what he usually does, and because of that, they did hurt. And yeah, maybe they didn't have as good as a handle on the meta, but they're such a good team that should be able to overcome that, and they should at least go through 3 probably. So I think Ultraviolet just proves like this meta kind of proved how important he was to this team. Above him is going to be Zest. So I had Zest a little bit out of S tier, if I remember last time. I think he kind of stepped back into that. He was trying to do it all by himself on Philly for so long. He got enough wins that whenever MN3 did come through, they were able to pull through and make it to the tournament and all that. So good for him. I think he's been like peak Genji game, not peak Genji, but he's been very good at the Genji this entire time. I think his kickoff flash was started up here. I think his mid-season match went down a little bit, and now he's right back up. Maybe not quite at the kickoff flash level, but I think a little bit in between. And that's just a treat to watch. He's always so consistently good. He's always going to win you fights. He's going to win you maps even. Just off of him alone, he's going to be able to give your team a fighting chance. Similar to Hydron, but at another level on Genji kind of thing. Like Hydron, he's going to consistently give his team a chance to win if they rally around that. Zest, boom, he's there. He doesn't even need the team to rally around him because Fix and AimGod can be off having a drink, doing whatever they want. Fury can go off and rampage off the map if he wants. Zest is going to be here day in, day out with a decrepit Carpe and do the absolute Lord's work. Up next is Kaluj. I have put Kaluj as my best rookie tank. I have taken Kaluj over Reiner. Kaluj has shown, you know what, maybe Reiner's a bit more flexible. Maybe he can do some more things. Kaluj has shown more proficiency on more characters. He showed a D.Va in the mid-season match. Let's not forget he was the only effective D.Va user this entire league so far. His Junker Queen was damn good. Pretty damn good. It's not like he was super carrying fights. Not like he was Hanbin out here. But he was doing enough he was setting Proper up for winning. And that's what you need him to do. You need Kaluj to set Proper up to win. And he was doing it efficiently. His Winston has been good. There's been nothing like that. The Doomfist even. Kaluj has been a step behind Reiner. I think this Junker Queen gave him a step up on Reiner, and that's the difference. Now, if I put Reiner down here, sure, I don't think there's a real problem with that, but he's like, Reiner's right on the edge. Kaluj took that step over him to be my Rookie of the Year tank. My all-rookie team, he is my starting tank right now. And I think that's fair. I think that's completely fair. Next up is going to be Chorong. So Chorong had a pretty elite stage, and he's always been, very, very great. He's always been there. He even showed on the flex support. He was able to not miss a beat, looking like any other flex support in the league would. And then he comes in now. He is so good. He was aggressive, but he didn't die. He was farming the beats. He knew his. Like, the smartest thing about Chong is he knows when he needs to do things. Like, he would say, oh, they have a beat here, I'm going to boop the beat up, and Hisu can get the kill. And that happened. And it wasn't just like a one-off thing. You would see it happen. You would see him attempt it. And Chorong this is like where I think we can finally say he is an elite Lucio in this league. I don't think you can really doubt that right now. Especially for a rookie to be this good. Yeah, he's got the big contract. He's the highest paid player on this spreadsheet. He kind of played like it. He didn't play like it, but he played up to it, kind of thing. So I'm gonna put Chorong here all day long. I've been sleeping on him, and I've been like, well, he can be pretty good, but just give it a chance. He got his chance. Next up, Chio. I still think Chio's a bit better. Yeah, I still think Chio's a little bit better. Chio's just there, right? Chio is so damn good. It's like Charong, but like maybe tone down the aggression a little bit. I don't know. That's hard to say. They're both quite good. And Lucio needed to be aggressive in this meta. Chio was there. I don't think you can fault Chio for anything. Have you ever seen Chio do something wrong? No. Have you seen him do a lot of great things? Yes. S tier. This video was way longer than the other ones, but I think that's because Paris decided to drop another 6 rookies on it. Anyway, yeah, Chio. Love this guy. One of my favorite main supports in this league right now. And the work he's doing, fantastic. Next level. Unreal kind of thing. MN3. MN3. Why in the world was this guy benched for Carpe? Can anyone give a legitimate reason? Because he comes through and he pounds game in, game out. You can say, oh, he was inconsistent. No, but he wasn't, though. Not in the Summer Showdown, he was not. He was always on his game. He was doing the most. And he was just, like, you look against the Charge, whenever in the tournament, he plays against the Charge, right? Charge didn't even get fights on. MN3 would just like, oh, there's a guy, boom, gone. Just removed. And in the fighting chance he gives every single time for Fusion with Zest, absolutely brutal how good this guy is. Like, he is so unforgiving. You miss position on him, even a moment, you're done. You're over. Now, is he Lip? No, Lip's a different beast. But he's so dynamic in his gameplay, and he's so good. Like, I know I kind of feel like this analysis isn't that good on him, but like the ability for MN3 to take over a game is probably like one of the highest in the league. I would put him right beside Proper with his ability to just take a game over and control every aspect of it. And it's up to the enemy team to either outfrag him or deal with him in some way, or they will lose. We saw it. We have seen it. It's not a foreign concept. He does it against Soul at the end of every stage. He just wins. MN3 is so good. No, he didn't win against Soul, but he took them away. If he had a better backline, if he had more team around him besides him and Zest doing the most in this stage, I think Fusion would have. They were already dangerous with him in. They'd be even more dangerous. MN3, he's the future for Philly, and if they got to stop putting Carpe in for any reason. Next up is going to be Finn. So Finn, I wasn't as high on Finn as most people were before this stage, but his Brigida gameplay was genuinely some of the best in the league. Like, his whip shots were so good. He was so accurate. He's playing whip shots like he's a flexipore, and he actually has to hit these shots. Like, every 4 seconds, boom, he's proc inspired. Boom, boom, boom. He's booping the bob as well. You've seen it time and time again. He hits a boop on the bob, boom, it's gone. It's in a crappy position. It's gone. And it really impressed me. And I was thinking before, well, he's played pretty good. He has some troll moments, but he's played pretty good. And I think the troll moments were not there at all this stage. Finn showed to me that he's elite, not just on his characters, but he can flex onto some characters he can't play and be just as good as well. And he's impressed me a lot. I was very impressed by Finn's gameplay. And finally, we have the top 3 between Vindane, Merit, and Proper. So my pick for number 3, Rookie of the Year, is going to be Merit. I think Merit is very good. He is consistently, every time, putting in the work for Houston. Now, is he as dynamic as MN3? Probably not, in the sense that like he will take over a game. Merit makes every game hell, though. Like, the effort and the level that Merit is able to find picks and the pressure he's providing with Pelican is, I'd say, more consistent than MN3 and Zest. And it's not more dynamic in how he's getting these kills, but there's more uses other than just kill. Like, he's shooting the guys very good, right? That's what it comes down to, I guess. I say MN3 was consistent this stage, but Merit has been consistent this entire season. MN3 does have some points where you're like, that wasn't a great game from him. Merit doesn't have that. That's the big difference. If MN3 gets to that level of Merit, I think MN3 probably has a higher ceiling than Merit. But the average level of Merit for this whole season has been higher than MN3. And I think he's been better for that reason. That's the biggest reason. MN3 could be there. He's not right now. Next season, MN3's there. Probably. And then we're gonna have, to no one's surprise, we're gonna have Vin Dame at second and Proper at first. Talk about Vin Dame first. Um, Vin Dame on the Lucio, right? He's very good. He has been very talented the whole time. He's been good on whatever you put him on. It's, again, similar to Churong, you put him on the flex support in mid-season madness, doesn't miss a beat. Uh, he's kind of the backbone of Soul in a way because he's with Proper. Proper had a very aggressive play style, and Van Dame had to bail him out quite a lot to make it work. But he was able to because he was that good at his pacing and at his speed boosts, everything above Van Dame. And his aggression is well placed, his peeling is well placed. He does it all. He doesn't have one specific play style where you can say, oh, like Sir Majetti goes in really aggressive or anything like that. He just does it all very well. At an elite level, I don't think there's any real weakness in his game. Even when he had to go over to the flex support, there's no weakness. Chio had some weakness if he has to go over to the flex support. That's a real thing that he had. Vin Dame doesn't have that. And I think Vin Dame has been absolutely elite through and through this whole season from match one. He's been there. And now, at the 51-minute mark, talking about Proper. What isn't there to say about this guy? Like, really, he's been the best player in this league for a long time, or at least a top player. He's not your MVP, but he is definitely in the conversation. He's there for consideration. The way he controls the game is unlike any other player. I think that's very safe to say. He controls the entire pacing of the game, and like you have to commit so many resources to shut him down. And the only reason Dallas are able to do it so well is like they can shut down Proper and Proper doesn't come alive. Even Defiant did it a little bit in that first match, but Proper wasn't alive. And Proper suddenly he wakes up, he's there, and it's over. So Defiant weren't able to cage him, or they weren't able to do more than he was able to do. And suddenly, all of a sudden, he's controlling everything about the game. He's controlling where your support position. He's controlling how aggressive you can be. Because they're like, oh, if I go too aggressive, Proper's just going to kill me. He's that good. You could say, oh, maybe his Genji's not as good as his Tracer, but his Genji is still a top 5 Genji, I would say, in this league. I don't know if you could put him anywhere below that. No, you just couldn't. I don't think he's been outperformed at all, even. I don't know. Proper's so good. And the biggest thing is just like how aggressive he lets himself be, and how much he gets away with because of his mechanics and how smart he is and when he goes in. It's similar to Who Are You in a way, because Who Are You, he goes in, he might get caught out, but he knows he has the mechanics to back it up. It's the same as Proper, only I feel like he gets caught out less. I don't know. He's so smart with how he goes in. He goes in as fast as he can, as much as he can, and as often as he can. I don't know if I said much already. Uh, Unreal player. Anyway, this is going to be it. This is a little bit long, but if you stuck around all this way, thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot. Like this video if you like it. Let me know where I went wrong in some of these rankings. Let me know who's too high, who's too low. Actually, before I do that, let me bring up what I had last stage. All right, so here's my tier list from the last one I made. You can compare and contrast these right now. If you're interested in who I think got better, got worse, I guess, kind of thing. I don't really like pay attention to it that much, but there's that. Anyway, like this video if you like it. Subscribe for more daily Overwatch League content. Thank you so much for watching and have yourself a good one. Deuces.